Today's video, I am going to combine my two passions, fly fishing and homesteading. So, I'm outside today and I am butchering roosters. I raise all my own food. I live on a homestead and I raise the majority of my food. I raise my food, and I try to keep everything chemical free, hormone free, antibiotic free, everything like that. A lot of my family has died of cancer. I lost my dad a couple years ago to cancer, and I wanted to change the way I lived. I was in law enforcement for 20 years, and when I got out of it, I didn't want to deal with people anymore. So I decided that I was going to do this homestead deal. Well, the majority of the things that I spend money on are fly tying materials, and I thought, well, why can't I do that at the same time? So today I'm going to show you guys kind of how and what I do for some of the fly tying materials that I make myself. Now, I buy a lot of stuff at fly shops, don't get me wrong, but it's a shame to raise an animal that you're going to eat and throw part of it away when you could actually utilize it. So I'm going to show you guys some simple steps to where if you live on a farm and you're raising animals, or if you're a hunter, how you can skin out an animal and you can use the feathers. So I did not skin the animal. I'm not going to butcher an animal or skin an animal on YouTube. I'm figuring that'd be a way to get a bunch of complaints. So I'm going to show you guys from the point where you skin it. Now, to skin it, all you need is a little scalpel. Get you a little bit of a scalpel. Don't use a knife. A scalpel is going to get way better, way sharper. And you're going to puncture a hole right by where that hackle is that you want to start, and you're going to pull the skin up, all the while keeping the skin tight and pulling it against the meat, and it's basically going to pull off. So you want to get it to the point that it looks about like that. Now you can see there's a little piece of meat there. So what we want to do is we're going to take our scalpel and we're just going to get that piece of meat off. And you can see it just peels. They just peel right off. And if it don't, just give it a little bit of a cut. And you can get it off. So once you have that off, that's what you've got. Now you can see this is some pretty decent little hackle for crawdads and stuff like that. So that is all there is to skinning it. So the first thing I want to do is feathers will slip out a lot if you don't get them sealed in there. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to take just some regular plain salt and we're going to sprinkle it all up in there. And we are going to rub it around just as good as we can. Now what that's going to do is that's going to dry a bunch of the fat that's in this bird out. Now when you buy hackle, even from the store, there'll be like a oily stuff on the cardboard behind it, and that is because it didn't get all the fat out of it. So we're going to take a bunch of this salt and we're going to rub the salt up and down. So now you can see it's salted pretty good. That is just plain salt. This is great value. So that's from Walmart. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some borax and we're just going to sprinkle it pretty good all over it. Now that borax is going to get in there. It's going to preserve and bug proof. So that is it. So once you get that point done, we're going to take some thumbtacks. And I have a piece of cardboard here, or a piece of corkboard here that I have just stapled to a piece of plywood to where I can stretch my feathers out. We're going to poke that tack in there, and this is going to tighten up pretty good as it's drying. So what we want to do is we want to stretch it the best we can and tack it in place. And you can do this on a piece of sheetrock, corkboard, plywood, whatever. You can use a staple gun to staple it in if you want. This works for me. This is how I've always done it. So if you're waterfowl hunting, if you're pheasant hunting, if you live on a farm and you're raising birds such as I do, this is all there is to it, guys. So now that is going to sit there just like that, dry. It could take a couple weeks depending how humid it is. We are living in the middle of a bunch of rain right now, which is wonderful. Everything's growing great. So the humidity that we have, it could take it just a little while. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick that somewhere dry, which I'm going to put in my wood shop, and we'll just let it sit there and dry out, and you'll see it won't take long. It'll start to just really get hard. It'll be like a piece of rawhide, and when it gets that hard, go through there, take you a spray duster, spray it off. excuse me, shake all that borax and stuff out of it, and you will have a great piece of hackle. You can do this with anything. The tail feathers here off of this rooster is basically like the coq de leon. I use them a lot for like crawdad patterns, and it's the same deal. All there is a little tag end of the tail, and you just marinate that bad boy in salt. And add some borax. And this stuff is cheap. The borax and salt, use as much of it as you can. But like that, that's the only little piece of meat that, or the piece of flesh that's on the tail. So right there, you can see them are some beautiful big feathers. And this is off of one rooster. Then here is the hackle that is down on the tail of the, no, this is the neck hackle. I'm sorry, that was the tail up there. So off of one bird, look at the amount of feathers. Now, I have some roosters that I'm growing with good genetics that have some great big long hackle. But for now, this is what I was butchering today, and I wanted to show you guys how simple it is. So guys, you can raise your own hackle. If you go hunting, you can get different birds, you know, partridges, quail, pheasants, turkeys, and this is all it is. When you get that flesh like that down to nothing to where there's no meat on it, just rub salt in it, rub borax on it, stretch it on a cork board, let it sit for however long. You'll notice it'll be hard as a rock when it's ready. So when it gets that point, you're good to go, and you have just gave yourself a whole bunch of hackle for free. So I hope this helps you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm probably crossing the line some people are a little uncomfortable with butchering animals and stuff, but it's what we do, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps.